Good evening, Night Raven. I see you on the stream. Scroll back up here. We're going to watch a video in a moment. So I hope everyone is very well. Can you hear me? Hello, Miss VSN. I hope you're well. Hi, Drew. Welcome to the stream. So we have 14 viewers, but I only see 3 chatting in the stream. So as always, there's a disconnect between YouTube and the software I'm using. But Magistar, welcome. Loud and clear. That's great. I hope you're all very well, and I hope we won't have the same technical difficulties we had last Wednesday. So fingers crossed for that. The gremlins don't get into the machine. Glasgow Kiss, welcome. Jean, welcome. Lots of cookie, welcome. There's something on the wing, welcome back to the stream. Lenny Harry, welcome again. Lidio, welcome. John Hart, welcome. Trevo, hi, I hope you're well. John O'Sullivan, evening, hope you're well. Yes, we're up to 20, so remember, hit the like to get some more people in. I hope you've put a fresh hamster in your modem. Yes, I just did it this morning. So I hope he'll survive. So we have some good news in Italy that the numbers of deaths have declined somewhat. But of course, some bad news in the UK. The number of deaths has increased. So I read it was 980 deaths today in the UK, which is extremely unfortunate. Over 1,000 in France. But we have to remember that France is including deaths in care homes and nursing homes, so that's important to remember. Thank you, Glasgow Kiss. Yes, please hit the like button. It helps promote the stream. So hopefully I think we're up to over 150 last time, so I hope we can get some more this time. I see the Pope Mobile. It's not exactly the Pope Mobile, but we're going to see what a disaster is happening in Venezuela. So my good friend Mark Philip Rennie posted this on Twitter. So we're going to see that in a moment. I keep saying hello there in an unsympathetic manner. Hope it's not an EU immigration hamster. Max, have you seen Ecuador? No, I haven't seen Ecuador. Can you tell me what's happening in Ecuador? Good to hear the deaths have dropped in Italy. Sadly, others haven't peaked yet. Yeah, so there's Armitage, welcome. Hope you're well. I think in New York, they're hoping that they have peaked. So QA Library, welcome to the stream. Belfast, hope you're well. Oh, great, we're up to 39 viewers. So remember, guys, hit the like button to promote the stream. Tonight I'm on time. I think I was about 1 minute late because I had to put up a link. So apologies for that. Bodies on the street in Ecuador. I was reading an article, I don't know if it was in Ecuador, maybe it actually was in Ecuador, where the morgues weren't actually able to deal with the numbers coming in. Hi, Lewis. And Magnificent, welcome. Sorry, Magnificent, you had said about Ecuador. So I was reading about how they were... The morgues couldn't deal with the huge numbers that were coming in, and they had asked people to keep the dead in their homes. So there was a horrible story of a young man whose father had died, and he had his body was still in the coffin in their living room 3 days after he died. So just the emotional stress of that, and the idea that, you know, there's also a body that is infected in your home. So many countries have been caught off guard. IMAC Cyclo, welcome from Little England. What is it with these ritual type? In my area, all the churches are doing everything in line, online a long time ago. Yeah, they would never dream of pulling a stunt like this. Yeah. So QA, I haven't showed this video yet, but I'm going to wait for a few more to come in on the stream, and then we can watch it together. It's just insane, but you have seen it. And Ecuador is a wealthier part of South America, and also the problem, you know, you have coffins filling up, and we're almost we're in spring now, so the weather is quite hot in that area. Also here in Italy, it's quite hot. Yeah, plastic wrapping the coffins. It's extremely undignified as well. It's heartbreaking to hear these stories. I hear Boris is better. Boris is allegedly sitting up, and what was the expression they used? In great spirits, I think they said. So I think he's going to stay in hospital another few days perhaps, but maybe he will be out of hospital. Some people have allegedly said that they think that he is faking it, or that he's actually a lot worse than he really is, but I think the information is probably correct. Hello from Little London, welcome again. Brexit Central. Mass burials in New York. Yes, I saw that as well. That was really powerful. A powerful image of the... I'm not sure exactly where they're carrying out these mass graves, but there was some pictures on Twitter. I think I shared it on Twitter about it. And what they're doing is they're carrying out mass burials which are temporary. So these people will be buried for a period of time, and then they'll be exhumed and then buried somewhere else. I think it's probably because of the huge numbers. They're afraid that many of them will need to be identified first, and they don't have the resources available. So they're just mass burying them temporarily, and then later on digging them up, basically. Night Raven says nudists in Czech Republic have been told to wear masks. But Night Raven, you haven't said where they have to wear the mask. Where on their body they have to wear the mask. Boris has been released to go to his fridge at number 10. Christoph, welcome. Have you heard about the trolls claiming that the Italians are burning EU flags in the streets? As evidence, they showed a video of 3 guys burning a flag in their homes. So there are some... so I haven't heard anything about this. And I haven't seen any of it either. Of course, there are some Eurosceptics here in Italy, and many of them are being prodded on by Matteo Salvini. So of course they're going to do things like this, and it will be broadcast by many Brexiteers as widespread discontent with the EU. But I don't see any discontent with the EU at the moment. This is a crisis that could be extremely severe for the EU, of course, and it's very important that the EU promote the idea of Eurobonds to allow the poor countries to recover from this. Glasgow Kiss says EU agreed to €500 billion relief package. So yeah, so that's going to go a long way. Hopefully it will be spent in the right way. So fingers crossed that it's going to help the situation. Suzanne, hi, welcome to the stream. Robin, if I didn't say hello, welcome. And John Hart, welcome. Guardian has a piece about mafia giving food and cash to the poor. Yes. So I had talked about this. I don't remember if it was in a video or if I was on one of the live streams, how the mafia are taking advantage of this situation. And it's imperative that we now implement some type of UBI in Italy. Because, as I've said before, the mafia wait for a disaster and they take advantage of it. So what they're doing is they're distributing food to poor people. So many people because I said this before, how mainly in the south of Italy, a lot of people work cash in hand. So what happens is when, and it's not just, pizza delivery boys or people working in restaurants or I don't know what else, people picking fruit in the fields that are paid cash in hand. Many people who work for companies are paid cash in hand because of the taxes related to employing people, which is a big problem that needs to be resolved here in Italy. But what happened was, as companies closed because of this crisis, many people were laid off and they had no contributions paid to the state. So they were regarded as unemployed. So they didn't get any, they weren't able to call in sick in a way. They weren't laid off temporarily by their companies, so they would actually still get paid. So they're in a desperate situation. So what do is they go to the supermarkets and ask for food, and the supermarkets say, look, we're not giving you food for free. So the mafia step in, and the mafia are winning support now in the south of Italy again. Whenever there's a crisis, the mafia step in, and they know how to benefit from that, unfortunately. And I said before, a UBI would be a good way to thwart the power of the mafia. Food from the mafia, you do X illegal thing for me later, pretty much. Yeah, or it's also about support. So it's about maintaining their power. Hi, Captain. Welcome to the stream. It's about maintaining their power. So they, for example, will support a particular politician, knowing that politician will be easy on them or will attempt to jail or put pressure on their enemies, because there are different mafia families and clans, they call them. Not Scottish clans, but Sicilian clans or whatever. And they're different families. And they will fight over resources and territory, turf. And they will use political means, they will use economic means, they will use any means necessary to maintain their power. And this is a fantastic opportunity for them. You won't grass IP the mafia or help the police. You won't grass up the mafia, because if someone is giving you food and money to survive, you're not going to complain who it is or their motivations or their ethics. You're just going to take it. Drew says the mass burials in New York are burials of the unclaimed, which makes it undoubtedly sad. Yes, so many people, maybe homeless people or poor people who maybe were living alone, or maybe also older people in nursing homes that died who are not claimed. It's extremely sad. Cotton Cat says, calendar! Yes, I need to work on a calendar. It's a work in progress, I promise. Yes, Luxembourg as well. Sorry for missing that. or is it just look the other way when they're doing something? It's more than just looking the other way when they do something. There's a lot of different layers to the power of the mafia. Hi Bob, welcome. Here in Eastern Slovakia, mafia are running Eurofund scams thanks to our previous government who looked aside instead of dealing with them. Maya, thanks for that. Yeah, we have so many. We have this idea of the mafia as, you know, the guy in the fedora and Armani suit, but of course it's much more than that. Hi Pauline, welcome again to the stream. Hi ho ho ho. I don't think I've seen you before for a while. Sorry, or maybe you were in the last one. Apologies, and I didn't see you commenting much. I heard Seaver casualties were being cremated, not buried. So I had actually asked on Twitter about why aren't they cremating many of these people, and one of the reasons was because many of them were not claimed as sorry, apologies, who had said before. And if people were not claimed, there's a risk that, you know, you cremate someone who didn't want to be cremated or whose family didn't want them cremated. And that would be extremely embarrassing. And then there was also the comments that with cremation, if it's 1 or 2 cremations, it's not so noticeable. But if you're cremating 1,000 corpses a day, you're going to see a lot of smoke and ash, and it's not something nice to see, and it's not something easy to hide from the public, in the sense of protecting the public from such a thing. Your stream is the highlight of me doing the washing up and other chores. So keep washing up, okay? With this lockdown, everything is a highlight. It's a typical protection racket, yes. Hi all from Birmingham. I hope you're well, temps. Something I love about these streams is I get people from all over the world. So we get some Yankees, we get some Scottish people, we got some English, we got some Germans, Slovakians, Irish, everywhere. Someone on the stream needs to be strict. Hi Billy, hope you're well. Fantastic, we're up to 73 viewers. So remember guys to hit the like button, smash that like button. It helps promote the stream. Interesting because we hear very little about the mafia in Northern Europe. I think there have been attempts to set up. I think there was a funny story about some mafia that tried to set up in Germany, in the Italian community in Germany, and but the police didn't take any crap. German police don't take any crap, and they cracked down on it, and they sent them packing. Unfortunately, in the southern part of Italy, the mafia have a strong hold on the community, and also many police officers are afraid to go against them, obviously, because they risk losing family members. But the German police were able to act differently, of course, because they had the state behind them, while in Italy it's not so easy. Andy Godfrey says Ireland lockdown extended for 3 more weeks. Yeah, here in Italy. So today we received the fantastic news that the lockdown is until the 3rd of May. So we are going crazy here because it started on the 5th. I think it was the 5th or 6th of March. So we've already done a month, and we're going to get almost another month. I smashed the like button. Thank you very much. There's something on the wing. That's great. Max, there's a few comments going around about CV19 is fake. Anecdotal evidence that their local hospital is empty. Yeah, so that's a big thing that's happening in the US mainly. I don't know if you're talking about the US, but I've seen it in the US, and unfortunately I've seen it also mentioned in Fox News. a journalist, quote unquote, from Fox News said that she tweeted or she retweeted or she liked a comment on Twitter about a hashtag was check out your hospital, or why is your hospital empty, or something like that. And people were going, film your hospital, I think that was it. And people were going to hospitals and filming how, oh, look, there are no cars, there are no ambulances parked outside. It means they're empty, when in reality they're full, but they're full because of another reason. Just read QA Library's comment. If you see ash from putting a body in a cremation, something gone very, very wrong. EU has like the world's strictest emissions. I didn't know about that. Okay. Wales lockdown. So I'm probably using my popular culture ignorance there, because I'm thinking of what happened during the Second World War. You know, you had the chimneys pumping out smoke and ash. Wales locked down for 3 more weeks. Yeah, so we're seeing numbers increasing dramatically in the UK. March G says 980 dead in UK today, not including deaths in care homes. UK press headlines: Boris sits up in bed. UK press journalism is worth. It's really sad that you have 980 people officially from, of course, in hospitals, not including care homes. So they're talking about care homes is another 30%. So we're talking almost 1,300 people died in the UK today. And the news is Boris sits up in bed. Yeah, Boris is in good spirits. It's a disgrace. And whether you agree and admire Boris or not, okay, you know my position on Boris, but you have 980 official dead, and you're focusing on the Prime Minister sitting up in bed. It's almost as if 980 is normal. This is a dramatic day for the UK. It's the worst day yet. I don't know what to say. Suzanne says the Italian mafia is investing in Germany real estate, money laundering, so to speak. Yeah, I think they've been trying to get a foothold in Germany because they try to get a foothold in places where they feel they can get away with things, that they are somewhat under the radar. So I hope that the German police and German authorities crack down on them. A lot of the real leadership is coming from leaders like Arden and Varadkar, rather than the old superpowers. Yeah, that's interesting how, added once in a blue moon. No, not in a blue moon. At one time, I should say, their leadership was from the US and from the UK, and the US has just gone over the deep end, and the UK is struggling with its leadership. 980 in hospital. Something on the wing says, I don't know why BJ is in good spirits. He's losing hundreds of people every day, but they're not him. So it's, and also this good spirits could be, I think, is just government propaganda to promote the idea that everything's good and fine. Worst day in the UK and no sign that they will impose more restrictions. Thank you, Glasgow Kiss. You are a star. Thank you so much. I know some people were complaining about the police saying that they won't look inside people's shopping baskets. Okay, but it's not. The police are not going to look inside your shopping basket. Okay, even if they were, what are they going to look for? I don't know. Like, I really don't understand why that would be an issue. Maybe you guys in the comments can say why you think that would be an issue, but really I don't understand why people were losing their minds over this. I'd be more concerned about Anders Baron Breivik than Alexander Boris de. 'The 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 Why is the greatest Brexiteers always have foreign names? Mark Francois. 16 million unemployed in the US. So Donald Trump ran a campaign on how he was going to improve the economy in the US, and now we have 16 million. So 16 million is the official number. Of course, that doesn't include a lot of people who are who have been, I think it's unemployed for a certain amount of time, so they aren't actually counted. And also people who are between jobs are not counted as well. So it's going to be, there's talk of perhaps over 20 million unemployed in the US by the end of this month. And what do they receive? Many people are just receiving $1,200 as a once-off payment. But if your rent is $600 or $1,000, that's not going to go very far. So many people are going to end up being kicked out of their homes, or temporarily being allowed to remain in their homes, but not officially being kicked out, knowing that, okay, I'm going to eventually be kicked out because I can't pay the rent. Hi, Mark Franks, welcome. Beer and crisps are essential food items now. You better believe it, John Hart. Max, today Conte destroyed Salvini was wonderful. Yes, Conte is. I'm very glad that he's in charge. He's not the greatest politician, but he's at least someone who knows how to deal with this situation. He's articulate. He's able to present a situation in a calm manner, and that's what's necessary at the moment. We don't want someone who's, shaking hands with everyone because he can, or saying, well, I'm not going to wear a mask, like Donald Trump said. Anthony C., welcome to the stream. Great to have you on board. I heard one COVID sufferer saying a time came when he wanted to give up. It was so bad. Yeah, I've read some of the symptoms of COVID-19, and they are really bad. They say it's like you feel your lungs are burning from the inside, and the coughing is you can't smile, you can't laugh, you can't enjoy. You can't even enjoy breathing. Breathing is a pain itself. We have to remember that as well. There's a problem with the Streamlab link. Oh, okay. Let me just double check. It's the one I used before, so let me just double check. I'll just bear with me one moment, guys. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay, it should be fine now, I think. Apologies for that. Thank you, Glasgow Kiss, for pointing that out. Read an article from last Monday that epidemiologists counted 8 different strands of coronavirus at the moment with different symptoms. 8 different strands. Okay, that's good news. Wee Scott's dog, welcome. I'll just sneak in while Max isn't looking. I'll get a beer while I'm waiting. Anyone want one? Yes, John, you can pass me a beer. So I just want to show you guys quickly this video, and then we'll move on to some other related news. So this is a video that was sent to me by my friend on Twitter, and Let's see, I'll just put up the sound, so hopefully you can hear it.
Bendice las familias de Montalbán, trae, Señor, el don de la salud y de la paz, trae la sanación al mundo entero. Derrama, Señor, tus bendiciones sobre tu pueblo. Bendícenos, Nazareno de San Pablo, acompáñanos siempre.
My God, so you see here people watching this procession, I think it's the Passion procession. Very few people, of course, practicing social distancing. And is it necessary to do this? Is it necessary to conduct this activity? Luby welcome to the stream. It's pretty dumb, yes. And how many people are going to be infected by this? How many people who attended this? This is part of the procession. This goes on for kilometers until it arrives at the church. It's just another form. I know it's insane. Christ on a bike. No, Jesus is a pickup. Jesus is a Glasgow Kiss, thank you so much for that kind donation. Jesus in a big. You see, he's protected at least. So there's more protection for the statue, for the crucifixion, for Jesus in the crucifixion than there is for the residents watching this. A Tory MP wanted churches to reopen at Easter. I read about that and I shared it on Twitter. It's just insane. And in his Twitter feed, in his Twitter account, he had "stay at home" as part of his profile picture. So you had somebody saying "stay at home, but go to church on Easter Sunday." It needs more Norwegian death metal. Jesus will protect them. It's like the people we saw. I don't know if you guys had seen it, but there was a video of some American people coming out of a church, and many of them had said, "Jesus' blood is on me, and that will protect me from the coronavirus." And later it turned out that the preacher who had been telling these people Jesus will protect them was tested, and he was positive for COVID-19. Sorry to laugh at his outcome, but you can't be telling people that they're going to be protected and then you get sick yourself. Has anyone seen the interview Priti Patel did on Talk Radio? No, I haven't seen that. Max, how do you explain how well you have coped with this pandemic and stay at home for so long? How well I have coped? I haven't coped well. No, it's I try to get, so I'm somewhat lucky that I live on the ground floor. So I have an apartment directly above me, but I live on the ground floor. So I have a very small garden. It's about maybe 20 square meters. I don't know how much that is in square foot. Thank you very much, Night Raven. Thank you very much for that kind donation. I don't know how much that is in square feet, but every day my wife and I, the weather is quite good here, so we have lunch outside. So we have some pasta out in their little tiny garden, which helps because it passes some time, and the weather is quite good, so we stay in the garden. We don't go beyond that really. So it does help, and I feel really bad for people who are stuck in apartment blocks, on the 25th floor or whatever, without a balcony, or even with a balcony. You need to get out, and fortunately we're able to do that. I love the mountains here, the Alpines, the Alps here in Italy, and I'm dying to go there because I love walking in the mountains. It's so peaceful and connecting with nature. But I can't do that. I haven't been able to go there for 2 months now, and I'm missing it. So it's QA Library pointed to an interesting article. I'm going to share it with you now about the effects of this cabin fever. Before we look at the article, tell me, guys, how are you guys coping with dealing with this lockdown you have in your area, in your country? Before, this is about New York City, so I think it was Glasgow Case was talking about this before. So how are you guys dealing with with ordinary day-to-day life under the lockdown? Killer put down one of Max's videos today. Rich Max Banter. Can you imagine some people live without an affinity pool? I've been making limoncello for fun. That's great. I now have 5 liters of it running out of storage room. Limoncello. I love limoncello. Oh, fantastic. Is it alcoholic or non-alcoholic? Because in Italy the limoncello is alcoholic. There's quite a bit of alcohol in it. I go every day to my work. So Hank is traveling to work every day. I think also getting to work is very important for many people. Not to stay at home all the time. Turns out I'm ahead of my time, socially isolating for over a decade. Total introvert. So I'm fine with almost but most of the people in the town can't handle it. I'm a hermit, so normal for me. That's handy if you're a hermit. Playing video games, rural area, coping well, daily mountain bike rides. So that's great, Mark. Unfortunately, here we're not allowed to do that. So and I like bike rides. So, but unfortunately, we can't go very far. Not great. Alone with 200 plus family 200 miles away. But thankfully a lot of chocolate, yes. I've been eating a lot more chocolate recently, which is not good. And actually I woke up this morning, so I actually wanted to say this on the stream before. I woke up this morning and I've lost a filling. This is horrible to say, but I've lost a filling in my tooth. Hi John, welcome to the stream. And I can't go to the dentist because the dentist is closed. Unless it's an emergency. Now, it's not painful or anything, but it feels weird. And it's quite horrible to think about because I lost it while I was sleeping. So maybe it's too much cake. I've been eating too much cake, as you can see in my in the stream. I've been eating too much cake. Alcoholic as normal, as of course, only the finest 97.5% alcohol for my lemons. Good. No point in making drinks if they're not alcoholic. Traveling on my bicycle to my work, fantastic. Something I'd love to do if it was possible would be to go to work by bicycle. So much more relaxing, I think, especially if you have a stressful job. I'm stuck in the house listening to streams. I hope they're good streams, Panzer. Quite well, surprisingly, our streets is the hotspot of all our activities due to the community centre, 2 kindergartens and a fire station, so the current silence is a plus for a change. Something here is the kids play on the street without masks and without protection. Now, I don't want to go to the parents and say your children should wear protection or whatever, but they don't, and that's quite disappointing. They should be protected, they should wear protection, but I don't like to interfere. We're suffering. Our home has never been cleaner. We've been scrubbing every inch out of boredom. I've done a lot of things that I had put off. Yes, there was a lot of tidying up I had to do, and I said, look, I don't have the time. I don't have the time. Now I have lots of time, but it's not interesting. It's not an interesting activity. It's the same in the UK. The governing body asked all dentists to close. Yeah, so I have this. I don't know, this horrible feeling in my mouth. It's when you lose a filling. I don't know if you've ever lost a filling. It's just uncomfortable. There's a great live stream on Robespierre at the moment. Public service announcement: if you're gonna get a face mask out of an old bra, make sure you use the left cup. You didn't want to go looking like a right tit. Fantastic, Christoph. Suffering from the hay fever, so cannot go out. And I also suffer from hay fever, but I got some pills in the pharmacy that help reduce it. So, but I don't have them around me now. But if you should be able to get something in your local pharmacy to deal with the hay fever. And it's probably a good idea also for social reasons, because if you start sneezing a lot, people may call the ambulance for you. So, can you buy a temporary filling kit from the chemist? I hope that's a joke, Anthony, because I wouldn't like to try and do it myself. That could turn out really bad. Have you ever tried to do something yourself when you haven't the right skills, and you say, okay, I'll try it myself. How difficult can it be? And then you keep working away at it, and you think, okay, it's almost perfect. Let me just try another bit, and it ends up a complete and utter disaster, and then you have to call someone to do it for you. I tried to do it once with the plumbing in the house. There was a pipe in the kitchen. There was a pipe that was blocked, and I was trying to fix it myself, and I just made it worse. And in the end, I just had to call the plumber. Once I lost a filling and dragged my feet to the dentist, so part of the tooth decided to part with the rest, and it was a weekend dentist visit. Was much more expensive afterwards. Okay, but I can't go now, so it was weekend. Bob Mortimer has an instructional video on the matter. Have you never watched Castaway? Tom Hanks sorted his toothache with a big knife and a rock. I'm feeling a bit nauseous and a bit frightened now, like cutting your own hair. Yes, cutting your own hair can be an adventure. So I just want to show you guys this this story. It's a little bit of a sad story, but so it says here in New York City. I hope you can see it. So just imagine you get an abscess. Ouch! No, I think I should be okay for an abscess, but then I have to go to the hospital if I get an abscess. Fantastic. In New York City, the coronavirus is killing men at twice the rate of women. So this is a common issue that's happening at the moment with the coronavirus. It's actually killing more men than it is women for some reason. And it doesn't matter where it's happening all over the world. Let me see if there was a part I wanted to read. We can just start from the second part. So it says the rate to date, there have been nearly 43 COVID-19 deaths for every 100,000 men in the city of New York, compared with 23 such deaths for every 100,000 women, according to figures reported by the city's health department. And men are being hospitalized with severe disease at higher rates. So there's the data, while disturbing, does not come entirely as a surprise. Similar trends have been observed in China and Italy, where men were both infected with COVID-19 and succumbed to it at higher rates than women. So that's an interesting situation. Why are men more likely or more susceptible to this and suffering, more likely to die because of it? male jobs, plus we pee near each other. Listening to you, but usually the routine bleaching my knobs in the house at the moment. Okay. Whoops, sorry about that. I hit my microphone. Jimbo, welcome. Hello, don't worry, in a few days it will feel fine. Okay. Cotton Cat says, the ice on the cake. I'm in a residence due to my professional training in office work. We are 3 in the building, and there's literally a football field in the training center. I think if someone has high blood pressure, there's a 75% he or she won't survive. Yeah, so hypertension is one of the issues that affects a lot of the people who eventually die of COVID-19 comorbidities. If you've been prescribed Ramipil, it boosts the AC2 cells. Any data on tuberculosis, BCG, vaccine, and coronavirus? Not at the moment. I think because we're slow to seek medical help. That could be true, Drew. I think men are much more likely to go, I don't want to go to the doctor, leave it for later, leave it, and then eventually they go and they're more likely to be much sicker. Did you see the video? Sorry, I just scroll back up. QA library wrote something there. Did you see the video? Sorry, did you see Louis Rossmann Amazon review video? Order a hemp filter, other supplies to keep workers safe. They will not send it, but order a sex toy. It can be delivered the next day. Yeah, so there were a lot of, actually, on a serious note, a lot of people were complaining about how many people were buying sex toys, and Amazon delivery staff were putting their lives at risk for things like this. So it's important, yes, we're tempted to buy more online because we can't go out to stores or whatever. But we should be buying things that are necessary, not just compulsive buying. The older Italians would have had the BCG, not a doctor, but decades of standing up versus sitting down to do our business may explain the discrepancy for men, perhaps. Not true cause of man flu. Makeup probably stops the virus. Sarah Jessica Farter, long time no see. I think. I haven't seen you for a while. Commenters love to talk up the sociological reasons why men may be dying more, but are far more reluctant to discuss the biological factors. Sex, hormones, and immune system response differ. That's true. Yeah, our biology is somewhat different. So, and it's one of the reverse of this is, for example, for heart disease, there's very little research done on women regarding heart disease. A lot of it's done on men, and that means that a lot of women don't benefit from the results, and many of them don't actually understand the symptoms of a heart attack, for example. The symptoms of a heart attack are different for men and women. Putting landmines around the front door could be a good way for social distance. Yes, cotton cat. More prone people with blood type A. That's what I'm missing. A good hump. Thanks for that comment, Andy. Dropouts. Men die more than women from seasonal flu because it makes the man flu joke a bit morbid. Far more reluctant to discuss the biological factors. Nonsense. So Sean disagrees with Sarah Jessica Farter. So we see here an update on the US outbreak. So new federal projections show a spike in infections if shelter-in-place orders are lifted at 30 days. So this is something that Donald Trump has been adamant about reducing the restrictions, getting people back to work, basically. And he's fighting with his chief medical officer or chief expert on this issue, who wants people, no, please don't go back to work. He's the Fauci, the medical expert that works for Trump, has been suggesting, and I thought this was quite an interesting thing. He said that we shouldn't even go back to shaking hands anymore. Shaking hands should be eliminated from now on, not just for this crisis, but forever. Because now maybe he's a bit of a germ freak, but it does make sense that it would reduce a huge amount of future virus spread if we eliminate handshaking. But I think it's part of our cultures, part of many cultures, handshaking or physical contact, which would be sad for us to leave behind, I think. I think this is from today. So no, I just want to show the next article. Here it is. Apologies why this is all appearing in black. I hope you can see it, but for some reason it appears black on this browser. So I just go back to the comments for a second. That's why we die at a greater rate than flu, because we have the last word. Donald also wants to stop free testing. Check out the Jimmy Dore interview with Dr. Fauci. Hilarious. I haven't seen that. I want to see that. I'm a big fan of Jimmy Dore. He's been one of the voices of reason over the last number of years. Why would anyone be reluctant to discuss the subject in your imagination? I'm surprised Trump fights with anyone, because he usually just ignores anyone and does his own things. I've seen how he would. So you'd have a specialist speaking and saying you should do the X, Y, and Z, and Donald Trump would jump up and speak. No, well, you don't have to do X, Y, and Z. Remember, we have to get back to work. We have to. He's desperate not to be contradicted. It's quite frightening because of his narcissism kicks in, and if somebody says something that perhaps he wouldn't like to hear, he just loses it. I can see the black. Okay. I hope you can see the text, I should say. Shaking hands is part of our culture, but so was sending kids up chimneys. Yes, things can change. You're right, Armitage. It's just, it's something that physical contact is something is very important for us. A hug, a kiss on the cheek, a handshake. It feels sad that it may be better to eliminate those. But I think we will get over it. We'll invent something new, perhaps. I really think this pandemic might be a great lesson for many people. Why to follow hygiene advice? Yes. I agree. I've been ranting for a long time about people who don't wash their hands after they go to the bathroom. Like, how many times have you gone into a public place? And I don't know about women. I can only speak for men. And how many times have you gone in and people have done their business and they'd walk out, and many cases there's a door there. And unfortunately, the door has a handle that you have to push against, or you have to turn, and you have to touch the handle. And for me, I'm a bit of a germ freak, and I end up, moving, pushing against the door with my elbow or with my shoulder. I have a bit of a fear of these things, and now more and more people are washing their hands, which is good. But it was a typical behavior of a lot of people for a long time. It's not necessary to wash your hands. We have antibodies. Goldfinger, welcome to the stream. Fantastic name. Mr. Bond. True, but DT doesn't grasp the testing is needed to squash it, and therefore the death percentage is lower. Donald Trump doesn't understand a lot of things. A hug would be better, weirdly. Hands are just so dirty. The sad thing is that regardless of the numbers, Trump is going to claim that it was a success. Yes. Also, Max, don't keep calling Jimmy Doran the voice of reason. That puts my blood pressure right up. Sorry about that, wee Scott's dog. He's a firebrand, and I admire that somewhat. I think he has sort of made a mistake that he had been promoting Bernie Sanders for a long time, and now that Bernie Sanders has turned somewhat in his eyes, he's pretending that he had always criticized Bernie Sanders, which is not so honest. Jimmy Dore is really dumping on Bernie and AOC, and it's well-founded. Bernie saying Biden can beat Trump is sad beyond belief, yes. So I didn't want to talk about this tonight, but I just want to jump in for a moment about this. Bernie Sanders, and I think this was something I saw back in 2016. And when I saw this happen, I was extremely worried about Bernie Sanders. And I thought, okay, this guy is going to struggle in the future. And I don't like to be blowing my own trumpet, okay, and say, oh, look, I knew this. It was just something that clicked with me. And for many politicians, if something clicks with me, it's generally difficult for me to change that attitude. Blue Penguin, welcome to the stream. So, for example, when I saw Bernie Sanders do that back in 2016 or 2015, I don't remember exactly the date, he was giving a speech, and members of, allegedly, Black Lives Matter jumped up on the stage. They took the microphone from him. He stood aside, and then they started a rant about how the members of the audience were racist. And Bernie stood on the sideline, and I was thinking, okay, and I've talked about this, I uploaded a video about it some years ago, and I said, look, Bernie won that platform. That was Bernie's platform. He worked hard to get to that platform, and these people jumped up and they took it from him, and he didn't tell them to go jump or something more stronger. And I thought, it's in a way, it's a sign of weakness. These people had no right to take that from him. He had every right to tell them to go get lost. Or if he wanted to be diplomatic with them, he could just say to them, look, I'm here to listen. Let me speak. This is my platform. Let me speak. But when I'm done, I listen to what you have to say. But when I have finished what I have to say first. And he didn't do that. And for me, that was a sign of weakness. And is not, bending over to people to be diplomatic. But he was taken aback. But he is a politician who deals with people on a daily basis, people who are in your face, people who are diplomatic. There's I don't know. Just it didn't work. It didn't seem well for me when he did that. And I said, okay, this is not good, and it's I don't think it's going to work out well for him in this manner. And when he was asked, can Joe Biden defeat Donald Trump, and he said yes, I was like, okay, now you're saying something to be untrue, just because you don't want to offend Joe Biden. Because everyone knows that Joe Biden isn't capable of defeating Donald Trump. Donald Trump released a video today about how Joe Biden is showing signs of cognitive decline. And when other people, Bernie supporters, were bringing this up a few months and weeks ago, they were criticized for this. Now Donald Trump is running with it. So you had a weapon against Joe Biden, and you were afraid to use it, and now you've handed it to Donald Trump instead. I don't like to criticize Joe Biden in this way, but I don't think he's capable of defeating Donald Trump. And I think it was weak on Bernie's side, on his from him. It was weakness from him to say that Joe Biden could defeat Donald Trump. What do you gain from doing that? Anyway, there's a Photoshop of Dr. Fauci wearing duct tape with Donald Trump's face taped all over it, and Fauci's quote is, "If properly fitted, one mask can save many thousands of lives." Yeah, the media should just stop broadcasting Donald Trump's messages. Wait, film it and then just edit it out. Film Trump blabbing away and then just don't show it. That would be a great benefit to the world, I think. JRE was particularly pissed off with the Biden move because he's used to interviewing concussed fighters. Shame in it, yeah. From the entire content, the only person who could oppose Trump is Biden. What the fuck? I'm not going to. I don't bet, but I'm pretty sure if the situation continues as it is, Donald Trump will win. I don't know if it'll be a landslide. It could be quite close, but Trump is going to win. There's no enthusiasm for Joe Biden. How do you convince people to come out if they're not enthusiastic? Agree with your analysis about Bernie. Great policies and maybe won the battle, but lost the war. Never had strength to stand his ground. Shame. Yeah, it's a pity because I support Bernie. I think he would have been a fantastic president. He's someone who cares about ordinary people. But he didn't want to offend his colleagues. That's, I think, his biggest weakness. They were willing to say everything about him, but he wouldn't respond. I think he wanted to be above the fray, but unfortunately it doesn't work like that. We don't live in that world. You have to get down and dirty with the rest of them. It's nice to say, no, I'm not like that, but politics doesn't work that way, unfortunately. Free calendars? Definitely free. No, I'm not going to charge money for these calendars, guys. All of it. I love you all. So I don't know if you receiving a calendar of me in the way that you want to, the way that's been asked by some, maybe you'll be paying me not to send them. Watching New Yorkers burying their dead in mass graves is shocking. I think this is something New Yorkers had never imagined would ever happen. 9/11 was a watershed for them, and what's happening today is 9/11 on steroids. Not to be disrespectful, but you see I don't know how many we passed the numbers of dead from 9/11 about 3 or 4 days ago. Max, have you ever seen Peter Sinafloric's Sassy Trump? No, I haven't seen that. I must check it out. Let me take a note of that. Remember, pen and paper. I have pen and paper. Biden might be up 11 nationally, but it's a toss-up at the all-important swing state. Yeah, so I wouldn't look at polling at the moment. Polling, it's much too early for polling. There are certain things that maybe work in Joe Biden's favor and things that work in Donald Trump's favor. So the incumbency, because a lot of people don't follow politics and they'll just vote. They'll vote the normal way that they normally vote. So many people will vote for Republican because they always do, and many people will vote Democrat, irrespective of who's on the ticket. But in the swing states, many people will be interested in finding out what's being said. Please no Mankini, no. Louis Lou. So Louis asked for no Mankini, so there'll be no Mankini. Every time I see Hancock interviewed, I just automatically yell liar. Are you mad? You could make a fortune selling your nude calendars to the nonnas. Haven't they suffered enough? Haven't they suffered enough from COVID-19? Matt Hancock is something else. I think he's one of these people who have been put there because they're a sycophant for Trump, for Boris Johnson, and they'll say and do whatever he wants. The problem Bernie is labelled a socialist by the right, which means he could have never been elected in the US, unfortunately. Brice, I tend to disagree. I think the socialist label is not as damaging as many people think. You have to remember, and I back this up with the idea that back in 2008, Barack Obama was branded a socialist. In 2012, he was branded a socialist. Get your socialist hands off my Medicare. Get your government hands off my Social Security. So many people, some people will vote against what they think is a socialist just because they don't like the word. If you ask them what a socialist actually is, they wouldn't be able to tell you, of course. They just, Fox News told me it's bad, so I believe them, is basically their argument. But I think, unfortunately, Bernie wasn't aggressive enough, and there's a risk also that if he had actually won the primary and went up against Trump, he probably wouldn't be aggressive enough against Trump either. But we'll never know for sure. Maybe I'm wrong there. What does your partner think of this calendar fetish? Is she proud or scared? Shh. Don't say it too loud. Louis, we voted the Mankini calendar once. Sorry. Many people see socialism as communism these days, yes. People don't understand. So people don't understand labels either. And a big problem is mainly in the US, but many people say, I'm a conservative or I'm a liberal. And you actually ask them questions, they won't actually match up with what the definition is. And their definition of what a conservative and liberal changes all the time. The irony is that Bush was the most socialist president, even with his TARP bank bailouts, of course. Communism equal bad, yes. Branding a name in politics, Max, means a lot. I agree. But look at how, and this is something shocking. Hi Vic, welcome to the stream. Sorry I missed the first hour. No worries. We'll be here for another bit. Look at how recently Donald Trump has been talking about having Medicare for all for the coronavirus. So this is true. Now I don't know whether he's going to actually do it or not, but he was talking about people who didn't have health insurance would be able to go and get treatment for COVID-19 and they would be billed at Medicare rates. So basically the state would pay for them. So this is unprecedented. You have a Republican, you have Donald Trump saying that the government would pay for the treatment of these people, not the health insurance companies. Something that Bernie Sanders has been running on for decades. Trump turned around in one day and said, yeah, I'll do it. Now whether he'll actually do it or not is another thing. And I think it's also very important to remember that COVID-19 is just one illness. It wouldn't cover other illnesses that people are affected by, of course. And it's not true Medicare for all. But if it's marketed to the people as this is Medicare for all, Donald Trump is giving it to you, Joe Biden isn't. Many people say, well, sounds good to me, I'll vote for that. More than 18,000 Americans now dead from coronavirus as the infected number increases to 490,000 as updated projections. So today will peak death with an estimated 1,900 fatalities. That's terrible, Anthony. You were nice being labelled elite for a while, though. I voted 50 times for the Mancini calendar. Sorry, Louis Lou, these people are obsessed. Max, have you noticed that the UK doctors who came out of retirement are dying first? This was terrible. And I read, there was a video on Channel 4, I think it was, or Sky News, about a nurse who had been infected and he died at home. He actually, his family had called 999 and he wasn't accepted back in. That's a fraction of the number of people suffering from bankruptcy due to medical bills. I know we all think that the government should be open and honest, but it would be scary at times, even so. It would be a better world, yes. I think people, the public, are adult enough to deal with the real numbers. We need to be clear about this. In the UK, was it 890 people died today in hospital? How many more died in nursing homes and care homes and died at home? We need to be clear with this. We need to explain. And also, I think a bigger number would have a bigger impact on convincing people not to go and break the rules. I don't know if you guys, I uploaded a video today about some people who were flying in a private jet to Cannes and were completely indifferent to the rules regarding the social distancing and the lockdown. A complete reversal of many policies, particularly economic, how these new hospitals built in the UK. I don't think in December, general election, Boris Blobad was expecting to actually build them in the end. It wasn't 40 hospitals, it was actually 2 hospitals, but really they were converted stadiums into hospitals. But no, yeah, I agree with what you're saying there, Andy. Nobody could have believed what would have transpired. Thank you very much, Glasgow Kiss. You're a star. The bank holiday weekend will be the main factor if this will work. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how many people respect the lockdown. The weather is expected to be very good this weekend. Many people will want to be getting out of their homes. And I think it's going to take a lot for many people not to go out. Thank you, Glasgow Hiss. Yes, smash that like button. What about you guys? Do you have kids? Do any of you have kids? And how are you managing with kids at home if you're under the lockdown? I don't have children, so I don't have this issue or problem. But I know a lot of people are extremely stressed at the moment, and the idea of being able to get out and spend some time out of the house, they're dying for it. You're my rival. Glasgow Kiss said that I had one, but was elusive in his reply. Another dog and another writer of doggerel is a mystery. All deaths to COVID is recorded in Scotland, no matter where they are. It's the NHS England that only counts the hospital. Okay, thanks for that, Killer. I thought it was a UK-wide problem, so it's just the English who are not counting them. Britain records Europe's highest single-day death toll. Number of victims jumps from 980 to 8,958, surpassing Italy and Spain's worst days. Yes. 5,706 more patients test positive, and it's still not enough. Boris was talking about having, or Matt Hancock, I should say, was talking about having 100,000 tests a day. That hasn't materialized, of course, yet. Dr. Minling, about 10 days after the emergency physician made recommendations for how to improve his hospital's response to the COVID-19 pandemic, he was fired. This is the thing, not getting the chance to have kids, Max. This is the thing as well, as many of the people who spoke up early about this were fired or were told to shut up or threatened with losing their jobs, and now they've been proven right. I really hope there are going to be many inquiries after this and measures put in place to stop this from happening again, and robust whistleblower mechanisms so that these things don't happen again. Not getting the what's going on in the UK's lack of recoveries? Is it still just a matter of time? I'm not familiar with. I can't answer that. Max, what's your take on EU's infighting regarding bonds? So what the problem is that the northern countries like the Netherlands don't want the southern countries to run up huge debts, therefore devaluing, I think devaluing the euro or devaluing the value of these bonds, while the southern countries are suffering, like Spain and Italy are suffering deeply because of this, and they need to restart their economies. My fear is that particularly Italy is going to run up huge debts and not invested in something like UBI or real job creation. And I can somewhat understand the fear of the northern European countries, but something needs to be done, because the longer you leave this problem, the worse it's going to get. Denmark is sending 2 hospitals to Italy, one with all the staff to treat corona patients, including staff supplies. Wow. Will come by plane from Denmark. They also send one with no staff, but with all supplies. That's fantastic. There's a great cooperation taking place, something we haven't seen, I think, ever. And this is amazing. And also, we have to remember a lot of countries who are also suffering and who have suffered are helping out as well. China and Russia in particular. It's a pity the politicians are handling this through PR and lies, and not medical experts who might actually answer the correct way. Yeah, and this is a big problem in the UK. I've seen that many of the people who are conducting these interviews are politicians. They're not medical experts, or they are medical experts speaking the political language and not giving the real data, talking about the real issues. There's always a certain amount of spin, and that's not helpful. Read an exact but sad analysis regarding reopening the Las Vegas Strip. We should prepare for the possibility that Las Vegas Strip could be closed up to 6 to 12 months or longer. The idea of reopening, so it's an economically driven request, not a medically driven request. Why is Italy opposed to the MES? You'll have to explain that. I'm not familiar with that. Does Italy not want the regular EU help because it also means oversight, not politically welcome? Eurobonds would mean money without oversight. This could be a possibility, Jacobs. Ruloff, sorry. There is the possibility, but I think it's not so much that, but it's more about a lot of the EU help takes time and it's quite slow because there's a lot of paperwork behind it, and it needs to be ratified and things like that. While the Eurobonds is much faster, and Italy needs the money immediately. So it's not so much we want to hide it, but it's more, I think, the fact that we need it now, and we don't have the time, months to wait for this. So on the last community post Max put up, I would appreciate your opinion. So I'm missing some of these comments. So 500 billion funding was agreed, but health related costs only. Wrong. Eurobonds is going to the markets and share payment. Better interest rate if all 27 are in it. Let me see if I can open this other article I want to read. Once again, everything is in the dark. Okay. So it says here, Royal Philips NV agreed in September to sell 10,000 ventilators to the US for $3,280 each. It did not deliver, but the Dutch company just announced a new deal with the government. This time, it's charging roughly $15,000 each. So here is an example of profiteering taking place. So it goes on to say, the Dutch company that received... Sorry, I want to say thanks to QA Library for this notification about this. Sorry, MES is a European Stability Mechanism. Conte has fought against Heman. So I'm not familiar with why he would be doing that. It could be... you have a new patron, Max. I should have done it months ago. No, thank you. No worries. Thanks so much for your support, Vic. It's difficult to say because a lot of the politicians here in Italy have been saying that we're not against oversight, but we're against it now because it slows down the process. Now they could be telling the truth or they could be telling lies here. Do you think that all taxes will rise after the government get their money? Also not supporting masks here. Like mushrooms kept in the dark and fed. If Germany and to a lesser extent the Netherlands join the Eurobond, the interest rate for the bond will be lower. But it will cost Germany and the Netherlands a lot of money, higher interests. So it says here, the Dutch company that received millions of taxpayer dollars to develop an affordable ventilator for pandemics, but never delivered them, has struck a much more lucrative deal with the federal government to make 43,000 ventilators at 4 times the price. The US Department of Health and Human Services announced Wednesday that it plans to pay Royal Philips NV $646.7 million for the new ventilators, paying more than $15,000 each. The first 2,500 units are to arrive before the end of May, HHS said, and the rest by the end of December. Okay, so this is another thing I don't understand, is the idea we're going to have ventilators, but in December. How long is this crisis going to go on for? Is this sale of ventilators, is it for this crisis, or is it just to have them for future crises? Because if this is the case, how long does Donald Trump and his government, the federal government, expect the coronavirus disaster to continue for? December? Okay. Philips refused to say which model of ventilator the government was buying, but in response to questions from ProPublica, HHS officials said that the government is purchasing the Trilogy EV300, the most expensive version of the ventilator that was developed with federal funds. So there is probably a chance here that this company sees, well, we can make a lot of money now by selling the same thing. We've seen this. This is a more industrial version of people selling toilet paper in the supermarket for £3 a roll. Okay, this is the way I see it. Sorry, back to this chat for a moment. Either austerity that people can't afford or massive inflation will come. The current thinking is places for large groups cannot reopen unless quick real-time testing is available everywhere. If true, we better brace for global financial crisis. Yeah, so there's a huge problem that if we open too quickly, we'll see a second wave and then we'll have to close again. But then if we don't open fast enough, there's a risk that many companies who are borderline will end up closing. But I think we have to open more slowly. Certain companies will have to be sacrificed. Have you heard of Interserve? They're building and staffing the temporary Nightingale hospitals. Is it just me who sees them as temporary NHS-funded private hospitals? That's an interesting take, Noddy. No, sorry, I lost your comment for a moment. Nobby heads. If the collective political will was there, the best approach would be to the entire planet ramping up on the ventilators and shipping them to where the global hotspots are. Everybody wins. But unfortunately, capitalism has taken the driver's seat. Almost all medical stuff have to be used by date, including ventilators. Also, ventilators have a use by date. Not just you, Nobby. I get the feeling it's being seen as a dry run. This would be, and it's very insightful, very interesting what you said, Nobby. I hope you're wrong, but you could be onto something there. That this could be seen as, privately run hospital functions, gets the cheer from the public. This is the way to go. There has been talk about how this crisis is going to be used in a way to suppress certain aspects of society and maintain a type of not so much fear, but a type of readiness within the public for so what they're trying to say is that you put in mechanisms so that in the future you can say, there's another virus coming, we need to take control again, and the government or corporations are allowed to extend their reach in ways that we wouldn't accept outside a crisis. But the crisis is in a way manufactured. I'm not talking about this one, but in the future it could be manufactured in a way that suits them. So, Corona 2 is on the way. We better, you should give us all of your data and give us, you should follow these rules. No more protesting against the government because there's a risk of a virus. These types of things could be implemented in the future to protect us from future outbreaks. And this is extremely worrying. You know, we're handing over to the government a lot of privileges, giving them a lot of privileges for our own safety. And we're willing to do many things because the government have told us to do these things. And I agree with many of these things. But if the government starts to believe that this is quite useful, we're able to tell the public to jump through hoops because of this crisis. Well, why not? Why don't we maintain this? And Phil from another bias said something very interesting. He said how Boris Johnson asked for emergency legislation for 2 years, not for 6 months, not for 3 months. He didn't say, I need this legislation for a short period and then we'll review it. I need it for 2 years. Now, I don't know if it actually went through for the 2 years, but to ask for emergency legislation for 2 years is extremely worrying. The second model could be produced faster, but is more expensive. I shudder thinking how a Salvini government would have reacted to this situation. Yes, I agree, Heeman. A complete and utter disaster. He would be... I think everything would be running as normal. It would be like in Brazil. You would have him... So in Brazil, what's happening is you have the president of Brazil saying everything's fine, and you have his ministers and his government criticizing him and fighting him, and his supporters going out on the streets, Bolsonaro's supporters, acting as if everything is normal, and that it's a hoax, basically. And Salvini would be doing the same thing, because he cares about himself, he cares about his power, and that's what these people do at the end of the day. They're willing to throw the public, other politicians, hospital staff, whatever, and even their own supporters. They're willing to throw all of those people under a bus in order to maintain their power. Let's get real here. Africa, South America, and the US will have their economies destroyed by this. What's left? Canada, EU, Asia, and Russia. I'm really skeptical about the positive information coming out from the US about. Also, the Dr. Fauci was saying about, yes, we're reaching the plateau, and we should be able to return soon to normal life. No, there will be no normal life. There will be a new normal, but it won't be the type of normal we had before. That's not coming back. I can't predict exactly what will exist after. Sir Antonius Block, welcome. I don't know what's going to come after exactly, but it's not going to be. We're not going back. Anyone who thinks we're just going to roll back to what life was like at the beginning of this year is fooling themselves. It's not going back to that. I would like it to go back, but it's not. Many economies are going to be extremely damaged. Many companies are going to close, and I feel really sorry for many people in poor countries where there is no safety net, there is no protection. Their healthcare systems are non-existent in many towns and cities, and unfortunately many people are going to die. I saw images just the other day of Bangladesh, and a woman in her home with 8 children in a single room shack in a slum in Bangladesh, and she was being told by the government, you need to self-isolate, you need to isolate, you need to respect social distancing. How is that possible? Those people, if that virus arrives there, they are as good as dead. I don't like to be so morbid, but what chances, if the virus doesn't kill them, poverty will. If the poverty doesn't kill them, it will be something else. It will be civil unrest. We're extremely lucky many times by the fact we're born in certain countries and that we have some support. But I think many people in the US are going to suffer a great deal because of this as well. Sorry to be so depressing, guys. The lockdown is bad enough. We should talk more about the calendar. Money printing is going on in most of the world. Africa don't want. I lost the stream for a moment. No, it's back again. Okay. Don't do this to me again, YouTube or internet. And the corruption. Yeah, money printing is on the go. Is going on in most of the world. Africa don't have no money anymore. As we saw in the news, then you have massive inflation, of course. Exactly, in poor areas, people won't mind the virus if they can't get even basics. Yeah, how can someone coming to you and say you can't work anymore? Why not? Because there's a virus. Okay, but I can't see the virus. I don't know about this virus. I need to work because if I don't, I can't survive. The antenna servicemen are at it again. Yes, calendar, everything else is depressing. I want to show you, let me see if I can get it up. The video up, I mean. So as you know, I love Donald Trump, so I'm going to show you a video of Donald Trump. Of course, we have ads.
Our brave doctors, nurses.
So let's hear what Donald Trump has to say. Trailer for the calendar, I'm afraid not.
And responders, first responders of all are fighting to save lives. Our workers are racing to deliver critical medical supplies. Our best scientists are working around the clock to develop life-saving therapeutics, and I think they're doing really well in doing so. Our people are making tremendous sacrifices to end this pandemic. Though we will not be able to gather together with one another as we normally would on Easter, we can use this sacred time to focus on prayer, reflection, and growing in our personal relationship with God, so important.
Sorry, I just have to interrupt this for a moment, because the idea that this is something I never really understood is how the evangelicals threw everything behind Donald Trump. Can you think of anyone more immoral than Donald Trump? When his wife was having their child, he was with a porn star. While she was in the hospital having their child, he was with a porn star. And this is the person that the evangelicals point to as God-given. Okay.
I ask all Americans to pray that God will heal our nation, to bring comfort to those who are grieving, to give strength to the doctors, nurses, and healthcare workers, to restore health to the sick, and to renew the hope in every person who is suffering. Our nation will come through like never before. I thank the many families who have prayed for me and for my family, and your prayers are felt, and I am forever grateful.
Why are people praying for Donald Trump? Is he sick? Because as far as I know, the test results came back, and I'm doing air quotes here, the test results came back as negative, so he wasn't infected. So why were people praying for him?
I'd like to thank our great Vice President and his wonderful wife, who we all know very well, Karen, for the incredible job they do and for their service not only to the country.
Briss says he just looks bored. Yes, it's when he's reading something of a scripter, he's like, okay, whatever. Even reading, he sounds like he's lying. It's like he wants just to speak. I'm waiting for him just to go to throw the script away and start speaking his usual Trumpian speak.
But for their service to God. Almost 3,000 years ago, the prophet Isaiah wrote these words: "Darkness covers the earth, but the Lord rises upon you, and his glory appears over you, for the Lord will be your..."
Apologies about the volume. I can't seem to make it any louder. I think it's the original recording is quite low. Apologies. Try to listen carefully. That's all I can say. Once again, apologies.
Everlasting light. As our nation battles the invisible enemy, we reaffirm that Americans believe in the power of prayer. We give thanks for the majesty of creation and for the gift of eternal life, and we place our trust in the hands of Almighty God. I'd like to just wish everybody a very happy Easter. We're going to be celebrating that very, very special day. And it's going to be, hopefully, a very good weekend and a very productive weekend. And I want to thank everybody in our country and beyond.
Productive weekend? Who's working at Easter? Who is he, when he says it's productive weekend, who's he talking about?
For all they've had to put up with, 184 countries as of this morning are fighting this enemy. And we pray for them all. With that, I'd like to introduce Bishop Harry Jackson from Maryland, highly respected gentleman who is a member of our faith and a person that we have tremendous respect for. Bishop, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, let me say thank you for the job you're doing, you and the Vice President, to protect our nation. And you've included the churches in the relief efforts. Many churches would have had to close down.
Okay, so this is an interesting thing. So I didn't know we were going in this direction. But it's very important to remember that there is in one of the hospitals has been opened up in Central Park in New York. It's been run by an evangelical movement, and the governor of New York has had to send government officials down to this hospital to make sure that they're not discriminating against people who are not Christians. So this is just, these are the people who are talking about, Trump is doing a great job. Trump is our God on earth. And there's some of these religious organizations. Now, I'm not criticizing all religious organizations. I'm a religious, but if they're doing a good job, if they're caring for people, then I applaud them for that. But some of them are using this as a springboard to influence, to gain favor with the public, and some of them are abusing abusing their right, abusing the situation in order to gain more followers or to gain more influence or to promote themselves. And it's disgusting.
Down had it not been for your insightful leadership. So
okay. So I don't know if you guys had heard that. He said, if it wasn't for your insightful leadership, we wouldn't be able to do all of this. So he's kissing Donald Trump's ass. Now, there are two ways you can be kissing Trump's ass. It's whether you want him to do something for you, or which is maybe necessary, political expedience, or maybe he's a sycophant and he thinks Trump is really doing everything he can. But I think it's probably the former, because if you want Trump to do something for you, you have to say he's doing a fantastic job, a tremendous job. You have to kiss his ass in order to get something. And that's something that the European leaders like Merkel didn't understand or didn't want to do. They said, I'm not going to kiss Donald Trump's ass. Why should I do that? While other political leaders have realized Donald Trump is a narcissist, and in order to get something from a narcissist, you have to feed the narcissism.
Both very much. Thank you. Good Friday, as we prepare to prayer, is one of the darkest days in the Christian faith, in that Christ stood in substitution for our sin. But the resurrection is our victory.
Blue Penguin, thank you so much for that donation.
Passover. I'm going to read 2 verses and pray out of them about what we want to have happen. We want this plague.
Okay, guys, it doesn't. I don't want you to look at the speaker. I want you to focus on Donald Trump. It's interesting that they maintained Trump in this shot. I think this is something that Trump probably requested, not to switch the shot over to this speaker, because Trump wanted to be in the frame all the time, because he's a narcissist. So, but just watch his body language. I honestly haven't seen this video, because I was looking for something about Trump from today. But just watch his body language. He's always the same. Arse Max, Arse, you're Irish, remember? Ass is across the pond. Sorry, I don't remember where I said that.
To pass over. We want everyone in America to be safe. Psalm 105 says, He brought them out with gold, silver and gold, and there was none feeble among his tribes. Verse 39 goes on to say, He spread a cloud for a covering and fire to give light in the night. Let us pray. Lord, let the death angel pass over. Let there be a mitigation of this plague, this disease. Let medical science...
Trump is already bored. Okay, get on with it. I want to do something else. I want to go and look at porn or something. I just wanted to hear you sing the last rose of summer off your balcony, Max.
Come forth. Lord, let us come out with a thriving economy. That silver and gold spoken of in that passage, let it be our portion. And then, God, as we face other challenges in the future, Lord, cover us with a cloud by day and a fire by night. But in this great land that was set up to glorify your name, we want to we come against the spirit of division. Lord, let E pluribus you.
Elidio, that's exactly right. Why do I get Iran vibes here? Imagine if Americans were look at this, and this is a fantastic demonstration of our faith and our government working together to deal with this crisis. Imagine, just replace it with the Ayatollah or the president of Iran and a religious speaker talking using quotes from the Quran to say the same thing. American people, many people, but I'm not trying to hit on my American friends here, but many people in the US would be laughing at that. Look at these idiots. Look at this theocracy, where you have the president bending down to the Quran. This is disgraceful. How can we take these people seriously? Pray for the economy, Goldfinger says, yes. Or get rid of the narcissist. Hit him so hard where it's painful in public. Narcissists are more vulnerable than we think. And most people, they only hide it very well. Yeah, it's true. You'd need to, I don't know how you'd do it to Trump, but you'd have to humiliate him in public. And the only person I could think of who was really doing that was that Italian lawyer, the lawyer, New York lawyer with the Italian name. Now he's in prison. It was, what's his name? He was what was the porn star that Donald Trump had been with? Stormy Daniels. Stormy Daniels' lawyer. He was someone who could embarrass Trump, but no one else really is up to scratch.
Be a reality in us. Let there be a uniting of America. Heal the divide between race, class, and gender. Once again, give this great man, our president, and give the vice president wisdom beyond their natural limitations. Give them insights.
Give Trump wisdom beyond his natural limitations. Is this guy taking the piss here? Is he real? Is he trolling? Is he just joking around here? Give Trump wisdom beyond his natural abilities.
So they can cover us, lead us, and bless us. We bless them and America in Jesus' name. Be encouraged. Hope is on the way. Amen.
Thank you, Bishop. That's beautiful.
Thank you, my friend.
That was a great honor, and thank you. And thank you all. And have a great Good Friday, and we're going to see you in a little while. And also, if I don't see you, have a great Easter. Thank you very much. Thank you.
He's completely bored here. It's like, okay, we have to do this routine again.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks. Happy Easter. You too. Happy Easter, everybody.
This is the image of Trump when he's bored. He folds his arms and he sits back. He's like the child who's angry that they didn't get their ice cream, that he wasn't the focus of the attention. I think I need a drink. Okay, I promise I'm going to take this away now. Hi Max, how much do you think will take until the government open the shops like before? How much time will it take? Do you think people will get out before the virus crisis? Do you think it will be done by the end of the year? So Seduction Asylum. We have to enjoy this until Easter. If you're talking about Italy or if you're talking about other countries, for Italy, I can only say that until the 3rd of May is when we should officially end. Trump is dying for a burger. Is officially the end of the lockdown, but it probably could be extended after that. Now, how long will it take before shops and things open normally? I'm thinking a couple of months, because if we look at China, they went into lockdown in January, and just about a week ago, almost 4 months, they reopened things, and they're still not completely back to normal. So, and at least they were able to close off the country somewhat. Now, I don't think we're probably actually going to really go back to normal for at least a year, because there are still going to be countries that will have cases, and we'll have to maybe block those people from coming in, or at least have huge numbers of checks carried out on flights. We're going to have to increase testing on people coming in and out of countries. Let me just take a step back. Imagine Brazil, for example, still has cases 6 months from now, and Europe doesn't have any new cases, which would be very fortunate. But just for a hypothetical, let's say that's the case. So people from Brazil may be blocked from coming into Europe, or at least they will be under a severe number of checks. But what about people who fly from Brazil to the US, or fly from Brazil to China, or Brazil to North Africa? Will they have to be checked also? So there's still a lot of things that we don't know about. there's no guarantee it won't flare up again in China. Yeah, I posted on Twitter about how in Japan they allegedly, so it's not exactly clear now, but they allegedly have 91 new cases from people who allegedly had been cured. There's a lot of allegeds there. But people who had been cured got it again. Now, they're not sure if these people had really got the virus again, or they had remnants of the virus within them, and that flared up again. But if it's a case where people were cured and got sick again, this is extremely serious, and it risks that we could have lockdowns every couple of months or a couple of times a year, and that would be detrimental to our economies, detrimental to our social fabric. Were they cured? I don't know if there was. It said, I had shared it on Twitter, so it said that these people had recovered and then they got it again. So they had symptoms, they had recovered. Now, I don't know if they had recovered from isolation or they had recovered from treatment. Although I don't think it makes much difference either way. They had recovered and they got reinfected. And it's not just an isolated case. There have been other cases of people getting it as well. Now, my fear is that in China, perhaps it's happening, but we're not hearing about it. Like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist person regarding China, but it's possible that cases are appearing in China and the government are cracking down on it and not talking about it. Actually, Max, it's South Korea that the virus was reactivating in patients that were cured and tested negative afterwards. Sorry, so South Korea. Thanks for that, Drew. Earth is fricked. So in patients that were cured and tested negative afterwards. So it was reactivated in what way? I don't remember the exact details. How scary if there is such a quick recurrence of illness. China handled this much better than the West. I think because of the type of government they have, they were able to lock down much better than we could possibly. But Good Friday is a day of feasting and abstaining, not a jolly holiday. So as you love people like Trump, I have another video for you of someone slightly different. So we have the update from
the latest data.
Sorry, Matt Hancock, the health secretary. So this is related to the information we received today about the increased number of cases and increased number of deaths. So behind each number is a name, a loss, and family that have never been the same again. Health Secretary Matt Hancock has said 8,958 people in the UK have now died after contracting COVID-19, an increase of 980 since yesterday.
Before updating you on our plan, I want to share the latest data from the ongoing monitoring and testing programme. Yesterday, I'm glad to report that 19,116 tests were carried out across Great Britain.
Okay, 19,000 is a little bit shorter than 100,000. You were talking about 100,000 about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. We're going to carry out 100,000 tests a day. and you're talking about 19,000 have been carried out so far. Not 19,000 today, 19,000. Let me just double check what he said.
Tests were carried out across Great Britain. I'm glad to report that 19,116 tests were carried out across Great Britain. 5,706 tested positive.
Okay, maybe I'm misunderstanding some, but is he talking about today or so far? It's not clear.
The number of people currently in hospital with coronavirus symptoms is 19,304. Of those who've contracted the virus, 8,958 have sadly died, an increase of 980 since yesterday. We never forget that behind this number, behind each one is a name, a loss, and a family that'll never be the same again. And we all share a responsibility to tackle this virus, first and foremost, by staying at home.
So this is very interesting. So he says we have to tackle this virus, and our way of tackling the virus is staying at home. This is putting an onus on the public. And I agree that it's important that people stay at home. But it's not this is the only way we fight this virus. We're fighting this virus by staying at home. This is the job for the public. But he's presenting it in the way that the only way to fight this virus is staying at home. No, that's part of the battle. That's the job of citizens, to stay at home. The job of the government is to provide resources, to provide equipment, and to provide funding for the staff to fight this virus. It's not just a case of we have to fight it. Sorry, can you play the First Minister in comparison, please? Yes, I'll try and find the video from the First Minister of Scotland. But I just want to stress this point. There is this attempt to put the onus on the public and forget about what the government has to do. It's important never to forget that yes, the public have to do their job, but the government also have a job to do. And what we're seeing is this attempt to push the responsibility, all of the responsibility, onto the public. And this should not fly. It should not be their modus operandi. And I don't like the way that the media are not holding them to account on this. He's talked about 19,000 tests. But even if this was 19,000 tests a day, which I don't think it is, he didn't say, because if it was 19,000 tests a day, he would have said, we have done 19,000 tests today or yesterday. But that's not taking place. There needs to be much more testing taking place, and it's not taking place. Why is it not taking place? Why have you not tested the 100,000 that you have said that you would be doing? You don't have the tests? You don't have the resources? You don't have the staff? What is the reason? Why are the journalists not asking these questions? There seems to be this, journalists ask the question, then they're shut off, and then the government give whatever response they want, and then there's no follow-up. So I'm going to see if I can get the response, the same response from Nicola. Just bear with me for a moment, guys. Thank you very much, Glasgow Kiss. You're a star. So this video is quite short, so it should be correct for today.
I know how hard it is for people to...
Okay, so this is the First Minister of Scotland and her... I
know how hard it is for
her information video for today. Okay, so I'll just go back. Just a moment, I'll check the stream. Glasgow Kiss, you're a star. Thank you so much for that kind donation. Tomorrow the Sun et al. Will congratulate the government on testing 19,000. An absolute sick joke, yes. Yep, he was negative, by the way, and released. Just a regular chest infection, thankfully. I understand that sadly she is maligned across the country regularly. UK journalists, by and large, their newspapers helped in December to get these Muppets elected. The UK does not have the lab capacity to process the testing. And this could be understandable if this crisis happened out of nowhere. But there was no preparation taken in the time leading up to the outbreak in the UK. We've people have been looking at China. Okay, then we saw Italy, and why was nothing put in place when the outbreak took place in Italy? Anyway, enough from me. Let's hear what Nicola has to say.
I know how hard it is for people to do that. It will seem even harder over this Easter holiday weekend, especially for families with children, indeed for the children themselves, and for older people who would normally be spending time with their grandchildren. So please stay in touch with family, friends and loved ones in whatever alternative way best works for you. Reach out to and look out for people even as you stay physically apart from them. But please do follow the rules and stay at home over Easter. By doing that, all of us can help to slow down the spread of this virus. We can help to protect our National Health Service, and we can also help to save lives. So I'll end by thanking everybody in advance for doing the right thing over this weekend.
Okay, so it's she's speaking from the heart here. You can see that it's not something over prepared. It's not a speech she's giving. That accent, I love the Scottish accent too. Yes. She looks different without the uniform, and bloke teasing her like a schoolboy. But she seemed to speak sense. Germany, which has one of the lowest coronavirus death tolls in Europe, the country is managing around 70,000 tests a day. Thank you for that, Anthony C. Yes, a day. That's why they're able, because what's happening in Germany is they're testing people. They're discovering who is infectious but asymptomatic, isolating them, treating them immediately if they can, and then carrying out tests on everyone they had been in contact with. Then you're able to isolate those people if they're infectious, or if they are, even if they're not showing symptoms. A lot of the people are only being tested in the UK and US when they have symptoms. Now, in Italy, we don't see a lot of testing either, and that's a big problem. Blue Penguin says, Max, what do you think of the seemingly dangerous route Sweden is taking? If it's of interest to you, I'd love to see a video from you on how their outcomes are compared. Yeah, so I'll definitely do a video on that. That's really interesting. I think it's reckless what they're doing. But and I talked about this. I don't know if it was in the last live stream or one of them. How they're doing it for a strange reason. People are not concerned about it because they believe fully in the government. There's complete trust in the government, and the government are saying we don't need to do a lockdown, and people are okay because they fully trust the government. Now, this type of trust in the government may be too much, because if the government make a mistake, you completely destroy that trust after that. people will start saying, wait a minute, we believe the government and now many people are dying. Well, I think it's important a government is transparent. Maybe being too transparent can also have its downsides. But I'll definitely do a video on that. Thanks for suggesting. Because I think it's one of these particularly interesting cases in Europe. The rest of Europe is locking down like hell, but Sweden is not, and they have resisted this. But there are numbers starting to take place. We're starting to see a rise in numbers in Sweden, and they're considering locking down. Whether it's too late or not, we'll have to see. Sweden has 10 times the deaths Australia has, with less than half the population. Although Australia is a particular country as well because of its population density. I think population density is going to be a big factor here as well. If we look at Lombardy, it is a huge population. The population density is quite high, while Ireland, for example, has much fewer cases, and I think population density is a factor there. Also, the idea that it's a smaller country with a smaller, I don't know. I'm just rambling here a bit, but I'm thinking it could be it's going to be a serious problem in countries like Bangladesh and India, for example. Swedes believe in the power of God of Abba and IKEA. They're not all that wrong, are they? Two of the greatest things that have come out of Sweden, ABBA and IKEA. Thank you. I've been having trouble finding any comparable stats like the one you shared. Okay. We have 1,000 ventilators to spare if needed. Where are you? Train crash ahead. Is it possible the UK government is still listening to Commons? Commons has been very quiet. Now, allegedly, he tested positive, so I don't know if he's still sick or what. So, guys, we're coming to the end of the stream. Probably another 5 minutes, and then I'll have to log off. But it's, as always, it's a pleasure. Andy Manning, IKEA is actually a Dutch-owned company. I always thought it was Swedish, named after the town that the owner of IKEA had started in. USA just hit 500,000 cases, and that's of course official figures. So the real figures are probably 3 times that. I really worried about the nursing homes, care homes, prisons, and of course in the US the ICE facilities, where there are no there's no testing going on. There's no investment in protection for the inmates or the staff. Is it Friday? It is, Tommy. So did I max, but alas. Sorry. Where I live, the population density is 2 people per square kilometer. So that made me feel better to hear in a self. No, there's nothing selfish about it. My own father. He lives in Ireland, and the population density is probably something similar to that. And I feel a lot more comfortable about that because the only people he actually meets is my sister, and that's it. So I'm much more relieved about that because he's almost 80, and I am worried about him. The real infection rate in the US right now, right now is in the paper I read somewhere between 2 and 4.5 million. Jacob Rees-Mogg's Countryside Mansion looks like a similar version of Downton Abbey. Yes. As I said during Brexit, he'll do quite well out of this. He'll be fine. But we haven't heard much from Jacob Rees-Mogg recently. Been extremely quiet. Thank you for the stream, Max, and thanks for your company, reasonable people. Thank you very much, Vic. The pompous arse. I said arse this time, like Father Jack, arse biscuits. Seems I've lived a debate. I started a debate about IKEA. Something I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard, which was quite interesting. Going on a complete tangent, of course. If you're just new to the stream, maybe if somebody's just joined the stream and you're wondering what the hell is this all about, we go in all types of directions here. Something interesting I read or heard about the owner of IKEA was that he died a few years ago, but he always went to work in the same old Volvo or Saab. I think it was Volvo he had. So he had a 20-year-old Volvo, and he went to work every day in that Volvo. And he knew the staff by name, and he would shake hands with all of the staff as he entered. Of course, he couldn't do it now because it's social distancing. But he was an easygoing guy. And what's more interesting is that before he died, he put in his will that the company would not be given over to his sons. I think he had 2 or 3 sons, because he was afraid they'd run it into the ground. So, so Killer asks for last quick video, Max. Janie Goody and your dry fannies. Okay, let me see if I can get that. Copy. So I actually shared this picture today on Twitter. It's let me see. Sorry, I'll just change the video now. It's I posted on Twitter, if you accidentally typed Brexit into Pornhub instead of Google, you might get this. Whoops, not hide, interact. No. Okay, here we go.
For all you ladies stuck at home, it's Nigel here. Dry your fannies, girls, 'cause here's the crotch shot. There you go, ladies. Feast your eyes. I know that right now some of you'll be like, wow, what a hot man. And why does he have a plaster cast of both his testicles in a jar behind him? Well, that's also on eBay. But ladies, if you want to get some hot action, are you ready? Get your eyes round my big sweaty legs. Yeah.
Okay, we have to hear that again. I don't know if you all heard that, but
For all you ladies stuck at home, it's Nigel here. Dry your fannies.
oh no picture. Oh, sorry. Show.
For all you ladies stuck at home, it's Nigel here. Dry your fannies, girls, 'cause here's the crotch shot. There you go, ladies. Feast your eyes. I know that right now some of you'll be like, wow, what a hot man. And why does he have a plaster cast of both his testicles in a jar behind him? Well, that's also on eBay. But ladies, if you want to get some hot action, are you ready? Get your eyes round my big sweaty legs. Yeah.
Oh my god. So I haven't actually seen this original video, so did you tell me you saw that, or did you have don't know if I'm visible. Gremlins are after me. I think I might puke. I don't understand what the original context was, but I don't really think I want to know. What was Nigel thinking here? It's better without the pic. I cannot erase that from my mind. I regret the pic now. something I love about you Scots is that you're able to destroy anyone with charm. Yes, unfortunately we did. Thanks, that will give me nightmares. He's not in the episode. He's finally starting to crack. Cannot unsee it. George Clooney looking a bit rough here. He still has more credibility than Trump. Next we can see Trump in Control Alt on C. Did Nigel know the lower half was in the frame? Is it? I know summer hasn't arrived yet, so can you imagine what he's like when summer arrives? You know, I can't think of a more unflattering angle than this. Oh my god, we need to smash my screen. Good night, Max. Good night, all. Wish you all a happy Easter. Stay safe. You too, Suzanne. I'm sorry to end on this image, but hopefully you won't get nightmares. Cracking tits, though. Okay, me too. So, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. Nigel. That's terrible, Andy. Okay. So it's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for coming on the stream. Thanks to everyone for their kind donations. It's been a pleasure once again. I'm not able to speak. So have a good night. Stay safe. Thanks to all the moderators. Thanks to all the commenters. Thanks to everyone. Have a great Good Friday. Don't get drunk. Have a safe one, and I'll see you next week. Fresh and rejuvenated after Easter. Don't eat too much. And we'll be back for another live stream, probably on the Tuesday, hopefully, if there are no particular issues. Okay, thanks a lot. Have a good one. Good night, guys.